Hey, what's up? How's it going? Welcome to Space Couch. Uh, awesome to be back. Okay. Call the ships to Davenport. Welcome to space, everybody. Oh, it's gonna be magical and fantastic. Let's just adjust the space controls just a second, and okay, that'll be just super duper. Um, Okay, so check this out. Immediately following Space Couch today, we got a show. Gossicles tonight, Lowell, Massachusetts at Uncharted. Doors will be at 8. Some really, really awesome noise experimental bands. It's gonna be all over the place, and you're gonna have a blast. To Matt Hawks, Providence's own. Fatagan, all over the place. We are going to let's just do one thing here before I get all into it, because I wanna make sure that things are extra special, crazy, sexy, cool for our guest today, because it's gonna be great. Uh, so we have someone who you got his music, like so many amazing releases and projects, and just a mainstay of some really wonderful stuff in electronic music and the world. So I am wildly excited to have this person on El Coucharuski today, ladies and gentlemen. Ben Arp, what is up, buddy?
Hey, how's it going?
It is going. Oh, we careened around the gravitational pull of Europa, and are now here on a Davenport in space, and
Us-
also Boston, but mostly space. So thanks for coming all the way out into space.
Sure.
Awesome. Well, let's get right into it, because I'm excited. Uh, Act Two is out for Cat, back under the Cat moniker.
Monitor.
Yeah, thank you. It's a team effort here on Space Couch. We appreciate it. Can you give me a little bit of the 411? What can we, as the listening audience, expect from the new Cat?
So the way I'm looking at it is, if you go back into my catalog to about, I don't know, 2006 or so, this is like if I stayed kind of in the experimental power noise kind of vein, but made it a little bit more modern. So I decided, it was like 4 or 5 years since I'd done anything under
Mm-hmm.
that name. So I'd go back to that kind of well and see what I could do going forward with that style. So it's kind of a
Awesome.
throwback.
So it's like a little like ATF or Rogue Parish kind of era.
Yeah, kind of that. I mean, I'm not relying as much on the samples that I did back
Uh
then,
huh.
kind of trying something different, but
Awesome.
it's in that kind of vein. Yeah, definitely.
Okay. What's it like to return to that classic Cat sound, kind of with uh, this, where you are, maybe even mentally, emotionally right now? To say nothing of having gear updates. I mean, it's been a while since
Well,
2006.
yeah, exactly. That was kind of the thing because I kind of wrapped up everything. I want to say 2014 or so.
Mm-hmm.
And in that time, I basically did everything on the computer. So that computer died.
Okay.
And it was, I was going to start fresh when I did this anyway. So I, decided to go back to kind of the basics
Mm.
and pick up, stuff here and there. And that just kind of seemed like the natural way to go for me, was to go back to the kind of sound I started with
Okay.
and kind of build from there and then see what happens over, the ensuing months and years and whatnot.
Okay. So new computer setup, because that one died.
Yeah, I'm using like the same. I'm on Logic still, but
Okay.
it's like several versions past the last
Sure.
phase. It's like a learning curve. So, I mean, it started producing again in like late 2017, and
Right.
it's kind of taken this long through learning stuff again, picking stuff up, and then just
Mm.
life stuff in general to get to this point. But yeah,
Okay. Okay. So, if we work backwards a bit, I guess, like, so you had been doing, um, Ben Arp as the Ben Arp artist and Captive Six and uh, even Korvax to Timor, if I'm saying that right. Uh,
You're probably fine. I don't that I learned later that was why you don't always believe what you find on Google,
okay.
because I was trying to translate something into Latin and I saw it that way and I was like, well, that looks cool. It's like a band name you're never going to have someone duplicate.
Right.
And then, a year or so later, I'm Googling and I'm like, oh, that's that one website that said that. So it's probably not even correct. One of those happy accidents because it's not like I named Cat like way back, like
Right.
'98. Internet wasn't really much of a thing, and it's one of the hardest things I've ever tried to Google because of those slashes in the damn name.
Totally.
And so with the Corbix thing, it's like, oh well, no one else has this. It's going to be super easy to Google. So
Right. Yeah. Yes. You are not. I mean, I'm sure it sucked for 6 seconds to be like, oh no, I spelled it wrong, and that's my band name now. Uh, Believe me, I know from band name regret. But
yeah, yeah. After
the
the second album, it's too late.
hey, the so what was it? Were there any feelings of like a homecoming, or getting back to the cat sound? I mean, for Act
Mhm.
Two, or was it a complete reworking and kind of mental repiping, if you like?
Kind of both. I
Okay.
mean, in a way, I released it on CrunchPod, which is like a whole other thing we could go into,
Oh yeah.
but that was kind of the homecoming aspect of it. And the support I got from a lot of the newer bands on that label really, really meant a lot to me. And then it's kind of a repiping in the same way because I'm totally a different dude than I was in like 2005. So
Hmm.
it's like coming at that kind of material from a completely different mindset.
Okay. Awesome. 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 Uh, so let's do like the brief superhero origin story for the people here. You were bitten by a radioactive spider. Everybody knows that. No,
Yeah,
no.
obviously.
So it's
I mean, who
19,
hasn't been?
what? Yeah, I mean, 5 times today on the way to work. The It's 1998, and you decide you want to start crunching around in Logic
Oh, back then, no. Back then, I don't even know if Logic was around. It might have been. I
or
was
whatever.
all hardware way back then,
Nice.
and it was, I started out as a DJ, like a
Mm.
radio DJ, and that's where I met Rex Arcano, like for the first time. 'Cause he was
Oh no
also,
shit.
yeah, yeah, I've known him for freaking ever.
Oh, that's awesome.
Uh, he was like a promo guy that also hooked our station up with music all the time. So like, I've known that guy for decades now. It seems like,
Nice.
but. Um, I did that, and then I got a kind of a local club DJ gig, and so I started out as DJ first, and started gradually picking up gear because I want to start messing around with my own stuff. And then
Hmm.
I want to say late '98, summer '98, somewhere in there. That's when I started the label and kind of
Yes.
released other people's stuff before I really did any of my own.
Mm.
And between '98 and 2000, I was putting out stuff on like CDR because back then internet wasn't really a thing yet.
Yes,
Like I said,
sir.
it's like tapes, home burn CDs,
Right.
printing out the labels, spending all night at Kinko's cutting stuff out,
Yeah. Oh
kind of
no. Yeah.
stuff that's like completely foreign to half the people I've met since I came back in the last couple of years that are all in their early
Right.
20s and are like, oh, we've had SoundCloud forever.
Right.
It's like we had MP3.com for a little while, but anyone remember that?
Yeah.
Myself.
Wow. MP3.com. Goodness gracious. Yeah, that was that we.
But yeah, basically I came at music production from the DJ side of things, so that's kind of my too long didn't read origin story. That was too much detail because I could go on, but
Right. Well, like you've put out some pretty fabulous stuff under many names, kind of for a while, and ran CrunchPod, and so the new people should pick up Act Two at CrunchPod. Is it crunchpodmusic.bandcamp.com, something like
it's
that?
just crunchpod. 'Bandcamp.com. bandcamp. Dot. Bandcamp. Dot. Com. 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 Bandcamp. Dot. Com.
That's why you're the king. Thank you, sir. Crunchpod.bandcamp.com. now run by Carlos from Manufactura, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but so you handed those reins to him, and now
hmm
you're on the label you started as an artist.
Yeah, which is
Okay.
kind of weird, but that gets a lot of people thinking I'm running it again, and I have no stakes in
Okay.
that whatsoever. I'm just another band on the label.
All right. So do not send your demos to Ben. He
Yeah,
can't
you
get you.
can send them to me, but
I
it's not
mean,
going to help you.
he'll probably check them out. I mean, I like demos too, but I can't get you signed to Crunchbot. Tiger Squawk, we can talk. But the so your what was that uh, decision like, or motivated by, if I can ask, like you say like I don't have time or whatever for this anymore. Do you want to take it over? How'd that go down?
It was kind of around the time, I want to say 2014 or so, that I was pretty much wrapping up. I was running out of ideas. I'd already
Uh,
kind of put Cat on hold, and I released some absurd amount of tracks as Corvix. It was like I was approaching like 90 or 100 tracks in like less,
damn.
and I was just burned out and
Uh
running
huh.
out of ideas. And I kind of hit this point where I was like, I can go in this other direction with some writing stuff, like actual writing, not like music writing. And I kind of wanted to jump at that and see where that took me. And Carlos approached me and he's like, well, I know you're kind of wrapping things up, but I want to continue. At the time, he just wanted to continue the label name to release his own stuff, like his own two
Mm-hmm.
projects. Um, and then about a year later, he's like, I want to start, doing it as a full on label. Is that cool with you? And I'm like, yeah, man, go ahead. I
That
already
work.
gave it over to you. Do what you want. And in 2017 or so, I started checking out what he'd been signing, and I'm like, wow, this is like some really cool shit. And it became a point where I was going to put out an album this year, and I had been throwing stuff up on just my own personal Bandcamp, and people were checking it out, but I wanted something kind of bigger for the album.
Mm-hmm.
And so I approached him and I'm like, hey, would you be cool with working together? And he's like, yeah. So it was just kind of that simple.
Nice, nice. It's an interesting kind of way it worked out, but I'm glad it did because I really dig the new Cat. And just like it's kind of everything you fell in love with Cat in the first place, the listener. But you had, like you said, you'd done so much work with Corvix. What's it like to balance that a little bit more spacey, soundscapey, kind of serene energy against the full on chaos and terror, if you will, of Cat?
Well, I mean, it's kind of just I'll sit down and I'll start working on a track,
Yeah.
and you kind of quickly tell
Okay.
which one is going to lean
Totally.
towards. Because you like half the time I sit down and I want to do a specific thing, and that's not what comes out. And you're like,
Right.
well, I can throw this one in the folder for the side project,
Right.
and maybe I'll use it, maybe I won't. But I haven't done a ton with Corvix since coming back in the last year or so, but because I've been really focusing on Cat.
Hmm.
But so I did an EP earlier this year, and it was kind of a specific thing I was trying to do.
Hmm.
So I really don't know where the sound for that one's going to go. I know it's going to be way different than the stuff I did back in like say 2012 or whatever.
Hmm.
But it's kind of like I sometimes divide it by just BPM. Like if I'm in the
Ha.
mood for a slow track and it doesn't really sound heavy enough, well
Yeah.
then that's a side project track.
Totally. I had uh, the Gossicles have this song about how I like otters, and on my PC the folder name for it is Tough Guy Shit, because I was trying to write some real crunchy, like I'm a badass who can like show a spinning elbow kind of like crunch stuff, and it turned out to be the most popular Gossicle track to date about how I think otters are cool. So you kind of got to feel it out sometimes.
Exactly. You sit down, you have one thing in mind, and that's just
Right.
not what comes out.
And you do the thing of, okay, but what if we just turn on the arpeggiator on this one line, and then an hour later, like, oh shit, I wrote a Eurodance song. Ah, well, okay, we're Eurodance now.
There's that, and then there's you're sitting there, and an hour later, you're still in that same little loop, making
Right,
that little setting, and well,
right.
maybe let's try this one, and let's try that, and then you get nowhere. So there's
Yes.
besides that whole deep dive into a let's try this.
Or the classic move of, I've been working on these two bars for all night, and then I get up in the morning and make 2 changes, and oh,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, the light of heaven shines down or wherever. Um, so perhaps we answered this, but even if it's a throwback, do you feel that the Act Two represents any sort of direction? You said it. You're less sample based, and
Well, yeah, like vocal samples from like
okay,
movies and stuff.
right.
Like I kind of wanted to avoid that just because it's kind of like is what the joke and the predictive audio, the first track on the album.
It's yeah. I fell out
It's
laughing.
yeah. I mean, that seemed like it had to be the lead off track because that's like I'm not gonna even pretend that that's not what
Right.
has drawn a lot of people to the older stuff, and so it just seemed like okay, I'll do it like that, and then we'll just do it as 7 more tracks of completely
It's
not really
great.
relying on that. But I just kind of wanted to experiment with like using something other than like a movie clip as like the hook for a song and just see how that works.
Well,
because I didn't do that a ton with the side project, and so I mean, I used samples here and there, like vocal samples here and there, but I kind of wanted to just see, it was like a challenge to me. Like, can I do a track that I'm happy with that doesn't have to rely on the one thing that I've used in the past to build a track? Because I mean, seriously, back in the day, I'd be watching a ton of crap, and I'd be like, oh, well, there's a song,
right.
and you just write the song around that, funny line or whatever,
right.
And
or
I didn't want to use it as a crutch. So
yeah, that was the I won't spoil it too much, but predictive audio is the name of the track on the new release, and for cat fans like myself, it is a treat. I it was pretty awesome to like sample the mayor of New Orleans like 6 seconds after Katrina hit, or like Phantom Menace a minute after it came out. Like, just I was like, damn, this dude does not give a shit. That's awesome. And then to even make light of that in and of itself on the new album, I thought was pretty awesome. But if you're challenging yourself to not sort of rely on that tropey ass move, uh, is it difficult to capture a specific feeling, or if I may be so highfalutin, convey a message in purely instrumental music?
I don't know about if it's that hard. I think it's different. So you've got to kind of if you're going for like a mood, you've got to build that with like the instrumentation or the ambiance, for lack of a better word, of the track, rather than someone crying or something, or a sample of someone being depressed or whatnot. And so it's just I just see it as a different way to approach a track more than any specifically like harder thing to do.
Okay.
At least I haven't experienced that yet. I'm only, I don't know, 15 or so tracks back into doing this, but yeah, I mean, I would say it's just a different approach.
Dope. I will relate from chat world. Josh from Dissolve says I'm at work, so I'm missing this live. I just want to say that Ben influenced a whole generation of industrial EBM. Thank you. And
Wow.
so you got some fans. Cy from Science Fiction says, "Gotta relate to this all so much it hurts." So digging that. Oh, John from Interface is here. Awesome. The Are you planning or playing any of the new Cat stuff live?
Pretty much have to.
Okay.
I lost most, like I said, when my computer died, I lost a lot of stuff. All the software I was using was so old. When I tried to even run it on a newer computer, it just I couldn't. So
yeah, I've done that.
I have some backing tracks that are pretty much like the whole track, and so I played one show since coming back, and that was the Das Bunker Festival about 2 years ago.
Oh, nice.
And I pretty much had to do like a throwback old school like set because that's all I could find the backing for.
Okay.
But other than that, I have some remix kits I think that I can baby piece stuff from, but like next time I play live, it's going to be almost entirely new stuff because that's what I can do.
Okay.
So that's a really harsh limitation. It's kind of one of those things where I like the Corbett stuff. I could do a show now and it would be everything. Around 2011, 2012, I got a lot better about preserving kind of the older stuff. So I would have it down the road, and I just really never took the time with a lot of that older cat material and kind of paid for it.
Yeah, I've done that.
Like I could do that like DJing, but not really like a really good live show. I mean, I did that one show and I wasn't super happy with how it came out, but it is what it is. Kind of situation, because I wasn't going to pass up that opportunity, but I wish I could have played more new material at that too.
Yeah, we ran into each other there. That was a cool venue. I'd never been to Das Bunker. It was cold. I was like, I've been sorely misinformed about Los Angeles. This place is cold, but
it was October. But
yeah. Well, I know. I built it up in my mind as.
Try going there in like July or August. It's a totally different story.
Understood. Yeah, it's pretty muggy here on the East Coast, and also in space because we're nearing a star, so it's getting pretty. What's up, Summer? Speaking of summer, that was weird. We were just talking about summer, and Summer just said hi. Do you have any live shows coming up you want to plug, or is that in the hopper?
Contact me. I'd love to play.
How do we contact you?
I have nothing booked at the moment, but I'm waiting. I'd love to play my first show with new material.
All right.
Contact. I go by Cat with Slashes everywhere on social media that I can get it.
Okay.
Kind of a nod to the Hulk Hogan Santa with muscles.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, honestly, it just
Kick
seemed
ass.
I needed a username, and that's what it is. It's Cat with Slashes. So there we go. But that's my Facebook. That's my Twitter. That's my Instagram. You can usually message me there. I'm on everywhere under my name too. So I don't have like an email or anything that I use for that, but you can contact me.
Cat with Slashes, Facebook, Instagram, all that.
Yep.
All
but
right.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard I don't have anything I can really announce as far as shows.
Okay.
I had some stuff that almost happened and fell through, so I'm still looking for that first gig with new material.
Awesome. So, Space Couch Geteers, if you or your buddy or your mom does promo, find out Cat with Slashes. Scott Fox of Ivardhan Sphere says, motherfucking Cat is in the house, one of the coolest acts this scene has seen. So, coming from the illustrious Ivardhan Sphere, good stuff. Speaking of good stuff, I'm curious. So, like, in this amazing hyper world I have created with the power of the Infinity Stones in my mind, your musical influences got together and released a line of action figures. And I would like it if you could tell me what these action figures be, or like what accessories they might have, or features, or things of that nature.
Okay, well, you got to do Skinny Puppy, and they would have to be a box set.
Okay.
With the whole I don't know, kind of like how the Star Wars old figures, they used to come with that. There's like a play set.
Yes. That
was like the cantina or like Jabba's lair or whatnot.
Right.
You got to do like a stage setup from like one of their more epic tours.
Yes.
So you have like a couple different costumes for Ogre. You have the fake dog, the dog doll that they got busted for or whatever that one time.
Yeah.
That would be like an accessory. And then a little tub of like fake blood.
Okay. This is a wildly viable, commercially viable answer. That's amazing. Because you could get accessories for like the paper mache chicken costume thing, and
you could do each tour could have its own memorable tour from the past could have its own set of accessories.
Oh, I love it. I think
it'd be the Han Solo and Hoth gear of industrial.
Oh, well done. I think it was the Zartana G.I. Joe. If you ran them under hot water,
change color.
Yeah, you got to do that with the fake blood on Ogre. That'd be incredible. Oh man. All right, so if anybody can put us in touch with Kenner, Mattel, or Skinny Puppy, Ben Arp has a great proposition for you. That's awesome. Oh man, and yeah, you could get like the ogre version and then like the skinny puppy version, right? And oh man, good, good stuff. I mean, and then that just launches the Repo the Genetic Opera line, and money, money, money coming in. All right, I love it. Anybody else?
Um, well, then you do like another influence of mine would be dive. So you could do just a really minimal figure with, Dirk Ivans and a mic. That's it. Because I mean,
Ah,
first time I saw dive play, it was Dirk Ivans and a mic,
I,
and it was like intense and insane. And like I could totally see that being like a figure. And then another one obviously would be Babyland,
oh yeah.
and just be an insane setup action figure. All the accessories would alone, you buy them separately, maybe even.
Oh, that's funny. Like the dive action figure would be so minimal it doesn't even have like the cardboard backing. It's just like a bag. But yeah, I've only ever seen him solo as well. Uh, uh, Ryan of White Cube is in the house and says uh, I would have to get in sock with Kurt's car and everybody with yeah with real cardboard guitars. That's very strong. Information Society would make a great action figure line. Um, but the Babyland uh, action figure set is genius because it's like they would fall apart eventually, so you would have to just your parents or whatever would have to keep getting you new ones because it's yeah, maybe it's like a Babyland welding kit, and you have to make that giant like rebar tree. Oh God! All right, so yeah, we'll get Babyland on here, and we'll propose the action figure line. Fantastic. Well, uh, unless unless you want to jump in with anything else. So it's Babyland, Skinny Puppy, and Dive.
Yeah, those are the three that,
Those are
that came
three.
to mind
Awesome.
immediately. That
Okay,
would make
awesome,
great action figure
awesome. That
sets.
would be great. That would be great. I want to propose the leather strip He-Man because he's already got that leather brace thing
Oh,
going on.
yeah,
So,
that
but
would be good.
yeah, He-Man and the He-Men. Depending on if he played his cards right. The So sort of that makes I'm not that good, but that actually kind of makes a cool segue into something else I wanted to bring up. Uh, Turnheel.
Mhm.
You are not only a journalist but a pro wrestling journalist, a prolific one at that. Can you tell me about this?
Yeah, like when I said earlier that I left to do some writing stuff, one of the things that I got into was writing pro wrestling reviews and commentary type stuff, and started my own site for that 2015 or so.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of evolved, or well, now kind of devolved in a sense because I'm doing music more full time. But um, yeah, I still follow wrestling, and I started out doing like 3 or 4 wrestling articles a week, and it was driving me nuts. And that was kind of my fallout with that was kind of how I got back into music because I
Really?
needed something to kind of suck up my time because that was kind of burning me out. I
Mm.
tend to do this thing I've learned where I just get all in on something and
Mm.
then go too hard sometimes. That's why I'm trying to pace myself a little bit better. But yeah, it just kind of clicked because I followed wrestling since I was a kid, so it
Okay.
kind of just was something natural for me to do because like a lot of the other writing I was doing was like movie and TV show
Mm-hmm.
reviews, and so it seemed that's kind of wrestling in a nutshell. So it was kind of second nature for me.
That's awesome. And well, what you cover a specific wrestling organization?
I did do a lot of WWE stuff,
Uh
and
huh.
that kind of was what burned me out. And I kind of took a break, and now there's a new one coming out called All Elite Wrestling, so I've started covering their stuff.
Okay. Awesome. Uh, what what types of things are covered in wrestling journalism? Just like backstories and things of that nature, or like industry stuff, or what?
A lot of people do industry stuff. I never really did that because so many people were doing that. Rumors about what's going on or what's
Mm-hmm.
going to happen. I kind of just, it was more of like reviewing a TV show, like what I liked, what I didn't like, what
Mm.
worked. I did mix it in with jokes that are relevant to people that have been following it. And then one of the big features of the site that kind of just happened was I used to do these prediction articles for the upcoming big pay-per-view events. And I had a writer at the time on the site that the way she did it was as a drinking game. And so that kind of stuck because at the time WWE was getting really both predictable and then they'd throw in some really dumb shit in there. So
Mm-hmm.
you'd kind of try and predict what was going to happen based on, the last 5 times this happened. Plus, oh, here's some random fucking thing that might happen. So let's throw that in there, and then you're penalized with so many shots of whatever if you that actually does happen. So that's kind of the format that we stuck with, and kind of what I've been focusing on mainly since I started doing music again, and I don't really want to write 3 to 4 hours worth of stuff every week about
Okay.
a TV show. But
Word. So we checked that out. Where can people go to read this stuff?
turnheel.com.
Turnheel.com. Uh, Anything you're looking forward to in All Elite Wrestling World?
Just that it exists because I got really burned out on WWE, and I know like the Dia guys are really into the Japan stuff, and I haven't really gotten into that so much yet.
Mm-hmm.
It just seems like this big mountain to climb because I don't know a ton of the backstory
Mm.
and a lot of the. I mean, now it's apparently there's actually commentary in English, but I don't speak a lick of Japanese, so it would have
Okay.
been a really big barrier. But
A little bit.
the stuff I've seen from that is amazing, so I
Okay.
can see why it's really popular. But I'm just glad there's a North American based alternative to WWE because they kind of have gone unopposed for so long.
Mm.
So
Okay. Cool. So cool. Well, we will I definitely recommend checking that out. All Elite, is that like where do people watch that? That's just like on TV or the internet or something?
it'll be on TNT starting in October, and right now they're doing pay-per-view events about a month each month on the internet. Yeah.
Okay. Dope. Well, I mean, who would ever start a show on the internet? That's just for losers. But
You should get on it.
oh, okay, yeah. We played a show last night with Helix and another band, and Ben and I were talking before the show, and a guy told me that I should put my stuff on the internet. So thanks, dude. I'll check that out. Uh, Smash cut back to music world, which for you means Cat, obviously, Corvix, Ben Arp, Captive 6, and there's not Captive 6, yeah. And am I forgetting something?
Oh, probably. I mean, I've done kind of like one-off things over the years that Corvix and Catterall I'm doing now. I'm not really
Okay.
doing After Six anymore, and I haven't put out anything in my name in about 5 or 6 years.
All
But
right.
so those are the two main ones.
Okay, cool. It's just we are rather simpatico in starting new projects left and right, and then kind of having to reel it all in. So, is it after the sort of emotional momentum, if you like, of Act Two, uh, being the name of the new Cat album? Are you fully back? Like, are you already going on whatever Act Three, so to speak, might be?
Yeah, I've already got another album in the pipeline.
You've already got another album in the pipeline. Fantastic. How's that go?
Hoping probably October, November.
Get the fuck out of here. Nice, man. Speed Demon, how's it feeling?
Good, different, a little different, but
Okay.
just because I know silly stuff like you get a remix for somebody,
Right.
and that turns out a certain way, and you're like, whoa, I really like that sound that I came up with for this mix, and then that kind of influences what you're working on.
Totally. Yeah, I've
So
done it. Like something about remixing, and I'm glad you brought that up. It forces you to step outside of your zone a little bit. Like people are asking you to sort of essentially make this a cat song, but
mhm.
now there's like that's where I find a lot of like, yeah, oh, I never thought about doing X, Y, and Z, and
Yep.
that can be a really great springboard in a new thing. So do remixes, people. Uh, Clack finale and Eric Ayler's thing was started off of Eric doing a Gossicles remix. So
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
yeah,
Awesome.
yeah. Basically, you're welcome for Clack, everybody. uh, I did think of their Clack the Planet slogan, but it's not about me. Uh, you is Cat are you doing any remixes under that name again? I know you got the album.
Yeah, that's what kind of what prompted me to say that is I just finished a remix for a band that's going to release on Crunchpod later this year called Stallschlag, and just the the song itself that he gave me to do, um, just the elements in that song when I was kind of deconstructing it and then rebuilding it,
Mm-hmm.
really influenced kind of the direction I want to go into on the next album, which I didn't expect, and so it's really helped in a way because that's like the first remix I'd done in gosh 5, 6, 7 years,
Right.
and so Act Two is really written in a void of just here's an idea, here are the tracks, kind of. I didn't have any other stuff really influencing it, and so this is kind of like, and this I don't think I was aware of it at the time, but it did used to kind of influence me back in the day too when I would work on someone else's material. It just like you said, it gives you like I never would have thought to try that. Let's see if I try that kind of idea with my own productions, and it can take you in a totally different direction than what you intended.
Yeah, yeah. It's always there'll be like a saxophone track or something, and I'm like, fuck is this? I'm not going to use this. And then 3 seconds later, I'm building the song
Or
around.
track around that whole thing, yeah.
Yeah.
And that, so yeah, I'm kind of I don't want to open the floodgates for remixes because I do have limited time, and I'm
Right.
trying to get this other album out by the end of the year. But when people that are on Crunchpod, approach me, I'm like, of course, I'm gonna hook up one of the other guys on the label.
Yeah.
But yeah, it kind of knocked me off guard, and like I was like, wow, well, let's apply some of the stuff I learned from doing this to the stuff I already have in progress, and it's worked out really well so far.
Nice, man.
Made
Nice.
huge progress, which I didn't anticipate doing. It just kind of happened. I finished the album about a month before it came out, and it's like, well, what now? I could just sit around and do nothing, or I could just keep going, and I kind of have to balance that a little bit because, like I said, with Corvix, when I first did that one, I was like putting out EPs and albums left and right, and I just ran out of ideas, literally.
Well, you have the wherewithal to keep those mental gears oiled by having projects to switch to and not burning one out for life, even though it may be you have to stop it after a while. How do you do it? Do you have any tricks, if you like, to just for such an output? Like, I mean, 100 tracks is like a lifetime's worth for many people.
Yeah, that just kind of surprised me when I was wrapping everything up and did kind of a count and was like, wow, that's, I released about 80% of what I did, and it got close to 100. And I was just every day, I was just working on stuff, and was super inspired at the beginning, and that's where a lot of it came from. And now I'm just making sure I don't overextend myself because I could burn out again. And I don't do that. I want to be in for kind of the long haul. But at the same time, it's 2019. You've got to be out there.
Right.
You can't just put something out, wait 3 years, and then put something else out because you're dead in that sense.
That is.
So it's that balance of like constant music, but not too much, but not being gone for too long. And so,
Fascinating. Yeah, I struggle with that too, where it's like, here it is, the world, and I expect people just to go to it, but it's not 1999 anymore. You gotta have an output. Yeah, it's an interesting balance to strike. I'm struggling with that a bit. Like I got a show right after this, and then this will be a podcast, and I run a label now, so it's great. I love doing it, but finding that balance can be tricky. What is something that people don't understand about Cat that you wish they did?
that I named the project in 1998. So that's why there's slashes in it. I wasn't trying to be an asshole. It was going to go on a piece of paper that went into a package with a CD.
Uh-huh.
So I did not put those dashes in there to make it impossible to find the band. I did not. Seriously, I have to constantly tell people that. Like it was a long time ago. Like this is before Google was even a thought. iTunes Store did not exist.
Totally.
Spotify was not even a thing. And I mean, that's been the hardest thing to deal with over the years is wanting, it's the project I've done forever. So I'm keeping the name, but it's in the digital world, it's been a freaking nightmare.
I can't even imagine.
And it didn't really stand for anything at the time. It was just cat. And so that people like to come up with, well, what does it mean? What does it mean? It really, really doesn't mean anything. It's cat. I like cats. So there was a brief period of time where I made it chaos and terror, and that was kind of fun. But it really has never really meant anything, and that's kind of what went behind that cat with slashes thing. When I had to make usernames everywhere, that goofy fucking movie came to mind, and it just seemed like it's cat. It's not CAT. It's not C/A/T. It's just cat with slashes. So the name has been probably the most misunderstood thing over the years, I think.
Okay. All right. Well, I always kind of wondered, but after having to explain the Gothicals 5,000 times, I wasn't gonna go there. But
I was in college, and cat wasn't even my main project at the time. It was like a side project I was, and I named it because someone was putting out a cassette, and I needed a band name.
Yes. Awesome.
And so there you go.
Almost the origin story of the Gothicals as well. That's funny. Whenever anybody asks my band name, I have to follow it up with "It was funny in college."
Yeah. I mean, a lot of that. The same thing with French Pod. That's where that came up. I had to come up with like a show name for the radio station.
Okay.
And so I just picked random words, and then I was like, well, I gotta name the label something because we're putting out a CD. Okay.
Well, Crunchpot is a dope name. I cannot say otherwise. The 1998, nice man. So you're still mostly software is?
Yeah.
Okay, it's just like Logic and plugins and stuff.
Logic and plugins. I've done like the first 3 or 4 years probably more than that, even 5 years. I was entirely hardware based, so I hand sequenced things before, and I'm super not interested in really diving back into that ever again.
I gotcha there, man.
I totally get people that started on software that are now intrigued by that and want to learn that, and that's totally cool. It's just not me. I've been there before. I did that. I'm really comfortable working on a computer now, so.
I got you. I'm
not one of those anti-hardware guys, but at the same time, I've been there, done that. I've had the room full of synths, and I like being having a more minimal setup now.
Totally. I just realized that this is the second show in a row where Hulk Hogan has come up, of Santa with muscles, and we described him as the KMFDM of pro wrestling.
Yeah, that was amazing.
In the last episode, so well, this will be tricky because my guest next week will be none other than Martin Bowes of Attrition, so. I don't know if I can work Hulk Hogan in to a conversation with the motherfucking godfather of goth rock, but we'll try.
That's your challenge.
Yes. Okay. All right, Space Couch, everybody. You got to keep me honest. We gotta work in Hulkamania or a leg drop or a brother or going off the top turnbuckle or body slamming Andre the Giant or something. We'll work it in. Awesome. So cool. What is right now? Are you in the middle of that remix for Stahlschlag, or what do you got going on?
I just finished that earlier in the week. I am back into production on the next album that I'm working on, and honestly, I just am compiling a lot of tracks for both projects right now, and
that's awesome.
I spent a while last month getting everything new ready so I can start doing shows and digging through old hard drives to see if there's anything I could salvage
Hmm.
of the stuff.
I've done that move too. What? And you're still in Los Angeles or not?
I'm in Folsom, California, so up near Sacramento.
Okay, all right, I fucked that up, but that's
You
okay.
saw me in LA, so I can
Okay,
see why that's confusing. So
right.
a
Well,
lot. And the
it.
label's based out of there, and most of the bands and label are based out of there.
Oh,
And I am
now
not.
see, you just saved me. So thank you. I can't even blame that problem on space, which is my go-to move. So, uh, if you are anywhere around, you want to check out Cat Live. I've seen many iterations of Cat Live uh, in the past. If feel free to play this one close to the vest if you want. But how are you thinking? Is the new live show is going to be? Is it just you, or you and multiple people, or what?
Right now, it's just me.
Hmm.
Um, no real reason other than it is the way that I kind of want to go forward for now as a live project, especially
Hmm.
with the sound I have. Um, but I'm not going to definitively say that's always going to be the way it
Okay.
is because it started out that way the first time around and built from there. So
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, man. Yeah, yeah, I've seen you with a couple people, and but I've seen you solo too, and it's been great. The any like moves you're into right now musically? Like, I'm on a big kick where I gotta stop sampling like audiences, like big stadiums, like it's like I'm Scooter. And I fell in love with side chaining for a while, and then fell out of love with side chaining for a while, and I'm letting it back into my heart like a little bit. And um, there's a distortion plugin from like the 90s that I found that I've got to stop using. But maybe not. Is there anything you're really loving right now in that type of world?
the hardest thing I think when I started again was the go-to distortion stuff I used back in the day no longer exists and it
Yes.
won't run. So I spent a lot of time just playing with different effects boxes and stuff to get kind of the crunchier sound that I wanted.
Mm,
And so I would say the moves I've been doing the most has just been really digging deep into the effects that I do have
mm,
to get the kind of sound I want because all the like go-to stuff I used to use never got updated and
mm.
won't run in a modern DOS. So it's just like that was part of that whole reinventing from scratch kind of concept I had to go with was like even the most basic thing like I always use this box to make the drums or whatever
Right.
really really pop as a crunchy sound. I can't do that anymore. So now what? So I would say the biggest thing has just been learning effects over and over and over
Mm.
again, finding
Okay.
what works, what doesn't work, stuff that
Interesting.
like you would think would be basic that I would know. I'm like, oh wow, I could have totally used that like 10 years ago. I would have known that that's what that does, and
So just getting
because I
really into what you have.
yeah, and
Okay.
trying to work with a lot less than I had because back in the day I had
Fascinating.
tons and tons of stuff and I didn't use half of it,
Right.
and now my mindset is getting really really proficient on what I do have instead of just collecting plugins for the sake of collecting.
That is awesome. Like I love that. Like, to make like a movie analogy, like I think I think Star Wars: A New Hope, 1970 whatever, looks better than 80% of sci-fi movies, and they made it with like a mop and a flashlight, basically. But they just cared about it, and like, there's documentaries how like maniacal they were about like piecing this thing together, and just got really into it. Um, as opposed to like we'll shoot the whole thing in green screen and do it all post and whatever. And yeah, you can do a lot with a little. um I mean, the plugins you did with the first cat stuff, like you said, are so old they don't even work anymore.
Right.
I got the same thing. I had to find something called JBridge. I think it matches the like the 32-bit plugins on a 64-bit DAW, but yeah, like it's like Jack Dark or some maniac put out a some really badly coded uh, plugins for a while that I found out I can make them work again. For a while, it was like don't click on that or Cubase breaks, but now yeah, one of
I
those.
remember
But
those. I remember those where you have to remember, oh, if I load that patch on that thing, this is
yes,
dead, and you're starting all over again.
right. Just hope to hope to Zeus that you saved the file or
Yeah. No, I mean, I think part of it too with me is like a mindset change because I've
Mhm.
matured, gotten older, and
Right,
I think when I first started out, I was like young, and I was just I want to get a track out there, I want to finish this, and
right.
I didn't put as much time into some of the stuff as I wish I had. And now that's kind of what I focus on because I've learned a lot of stuff over the years just by doing and from other people, and
Mhm.
even now there's like YouTube tutorials for practically anything you want to learn how to do. Whereas
That
back
is a
in
good
the day,
point.
you had to like know somebody who would come over to
Right.
your house and like show you. And it's like now it's like that's all at my fingertips. If I want to learn how to do a specific type of whatever, I can
Mhm.
do it, learn it, and then go in and do it myself after learning the basics and
Mhm.
really dig deep into stuff. And I don't think I took the time before because I was just this constant, I got to get stuff out, I got to
Right.
play shows, I got to do this. And I just want to kind of, I don't know, it sounds kind of weird to say it, but I just want to do it better this time, if that makes
Mm.
sense. And, like really focus on like the production craft of like a track
Hmm.
rather than just slap some stuff together and that's good enough kind of mentality.
Right. Yes, we wrote the beer song and the tit song, but we have this other world of music to check out. Uh,
Yeah, I mean that's such it right there. It's like, I know that older vibe was like the party music, whatever.
mhm.
I'm fine with that. I also want to now be a little bit more than that, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I,
And still be in that same kind of mindset and not like this is boring technical music now, but
yeah.
be one step above is kind of like
Go
my
on.
mind.
Like, what do you mean one step above?
Just like just on all aspects, like harder sound, like
Mhm.
but not like super. Just here's like a wall of noise,
Mhm.
but basically take what I used to do and refine it a little bit and be
Interesting.
more. Oh God, I can't think of the word, but you got me there.
Erudite. I don't know. Uh, refined. Honed.
Yeah, it's just
You're going from
it's
blunderbuss to sniper rifle.
there you go.
Dig it.
There
Dig
you
it.
go.
Well, I mean, there was a scope somewhere on I think the back of ATF or something like that. So then maybe that's why that was in my mind. The You want to check out not only benartmusic.bandcamp.com, crunchpod.bandcamp.com. Act 2 is the name of the album. You guys, I would not steer you wrong. The forces of space will not steer you wrong. This album is awesome. Oh, Chad Van Pelt, what's up? Jack Hollingsworth in the house. What's going on, Ray? Uh, Check out that Stahlschlag remix when it comes out.
Oh,
Anything else?
I should mention because they didn't. You just mentioned it, and I didn't mention it. Is that I do have a different Bandcamp because right now the only thing on the CrunchPod one by me is the new Act Two album. My benartmusic.bandcamp.com has all of the older Cat stuff. It has the EPs I was putting out prior to re-signing to CrunchPod, and it has all the Corvix stuff, which is that stuff's all free and pay what you want.
Woo!
That's kind of my other deal with that side project is I don't charge anything. I mean, it's out there on like iTunes or whatnot if you want to pay for it, but you can also get all that as a free download on Bandcamp if that's your kind of vibe with stuff. But
And describe Corvix to the people real quick.
well, it started out as like a post Witch House project, so it's kind of like slower beats and down tempo sounds and spooky and whatnot. And I would not really say that the newer stuff that I did earlier this year isn't really in that same vein. It's kind of more 110 BPM, just electronic music. I was really kind of influenced, even though I probably doesn't sound anything like it, by stuff like Download, Not Breathing,
Oh, nice.
kind of that late '90s, electronic IDM sound. And I don't know if that's where the project's going to go next, but that was kind of my mindset with that specific EP that just came out earlier in the year. But
Fantastic. So check that out. It's for free. Check out Act Two. What did we learn today? You want to go to Turnheel. Skinny Puppy would make a great line of action figures, and get into your shit. Don't just keep picking up new plugins to pick up new plugins, and check out turnheel.com. Uh, I'm gonna wrap her up. Do you check out CrunchPod and the bands on CrunchPod because they're awesome coming back. Anything you want to plug, Aruski, before we sign off here from space?
nope, I think you covered it all. You even my
Awesome.
own personal band camp that I forgot about.
That's
So
all
thank you.
right. Well, uh, you know, uh, we are first and foremost here fans on Space Couch. So thanks for coming on, and
Thank you.
we will. I'm gonna take the space mouse here and click outro. So the outro credits are going right now. But if anything comes to mind to throw in, that's cool, man. I will have to check out that remix and the bands on there. And what version of Logic are you on right now?
Logic Pro X, but I don't remember what actual
Okay,
version it is.
word, word.
Whatever the newest update is, I don't know.
Okay, just I tried it out for a second, and then I think I physically like lost that machine. But yeah, I gotta update Cubase like yesterday.